breeze blowing, storm clouds moving in. Whatever's gonna happen, it's about to be. I remember what the drunk donkey told me when he said, son, don't fear. That's where the page life is about to be. Then he's gonna tell you about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you which way it's going, if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news that they try to hide. Just look on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. There'll always be some haters, but they don't understand that Mike's got a friend and 100,000 more across the land. Well, if you want to know it first and you want to know it right and you want to have time to plan, Drunk Donkey Nation tells your friend Mike, he's your man. Then he's gonna tell you all about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you if it's gonna be a storm or if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news others try to hide. Look on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Yeah, here on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nation Pride.
All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. We're back at it. Must be tropical season when we're live at night and live in the morning. So here we go. Let's close this down. Bring up the puppy. Hunter was giving me the look today. It was his day. We were off a day this week, so it's all messed up. We usually end the week with Louie, but today is Hunter. Hunter is patiently waiting. He loves to be in the limelight. So we're going to give them limelight. We're going to say hello to everybody. We're going to talk about Lee. Promise. I am not going to be able to address exact locations. I've given up on that years ago. So doesn't mean I don't love you. Just means that I got to talk about the weather as a whole. But if there is anybody stressing, and you live in Florida, and it's Friday, swing by your local ABC. Because they support us, we support them. And you can watch weather models all weekend long, like I'm going to do, and softball. I texted my buddy Dennis Phillips yesterday. He did his TikTok by the pool. I texted him. I'm like, man, you're at the pool a lot. I said, I'm at softball. I'm at softball a lot. I'm watching E&E. And I said, Emily and the Euro. So if you're in Florida and stressing, you got a lot of time to worry about nothing right now because nobody knows nothing. So this is the Daily Brew. We talk about the weather. I'm not a real meteorologist, so I caution people that don't take any advice from me seriously unless you want to. Always refer to National Weather Service, National Hurricane Center. I'm just a armchair weather person like you. So anyway, all right. Well, let's talk about the weather. We're going to say hi for a few minutes. I got Red Bull ready, coffee going. This is Hunter, correct? How you doing, Amy? Weather family. What's up, Chris Wells? Debbie, College of DuPage. Awesome, because they have amazing satellites. I use their page a lot. Lance, thanks, buddy. You the man over there on YouTube. What's up, Mikey? What's up, John Tiffany? Halloween Horror Nights is back already. I can't believe it. That's always a cool thing, right? Kind of gives you an idea of the season's slowly coming to an end. You know what, though? We're not even at the peak season yet. Whatever happened to El Nino? Peak of season's 2 days away, and we're already talking about Halloween. Isn't that weird? Doesn't feel like it. It feels like we've been talking tropics a lot. We've had a lot of stuff to talk about. Lorena, thank you. Good morning there. Carolyn, good morning. What's up, Mr. Campbell? Hope you're doing better today. Sorry about your mom yesterday, buddy. I went to, because of you, Ian, I went and had coffee with my mom. Felt bad for you. Charlotte, thank you, buddy. Hey, Chris, we got thunder going here. What's up with that? We got storms. We got big storms in the northeast. There got a cold front. We got 2 cold front. We got BOGO cold fronts coming in. Hunter, the northeast is going to get storms there. What are you looking at up there? There's nothing to look at. He's just so proud. Jennifer, I was out in Texas 2 weeks ago. I really wanted to hang out in Texas. It wasn't a big storm herald, but I still went. I don't know why. I just felt like it, and I'm glad I did. I got to see a lot of little towns from people. Of course, we got Shelly, our East Coast connection. Does a great job helping us behind the scenes for sure. We are just a little one-man band operation here. That's gotten really big. Jason Strong, what's up, buddy? Mountain to Sea, what's up, buddy? Talk to this goose. Look at this little guy. You got to admit, man, for 3 years old, this has got to be one of the littlest Frenchies on the planet. Look how little what are you looking at? Look at the camera. There you go. Say hi, everybody. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. He likes it when I do this. He usually falls asleep like this on my lap. He's like, oh, I'm in heaven. Enough about that. All right. Now I got dog hair all over me. MWP. All right. So if you got to read my post. There's so much hype about this thing hitting Florida. There's so much hype about 2 storms merging into one. We got to believe the models, right? Spaghetti models. So I'm gonna go right into weather now. And we'll talk more at the end, I promise. But I want to keep it to weather. That's what most people are here for. Look, here's my notes from this morning. This is how obsessed I am. I was writing coordinates down, trying to, it takes a lot of time to digest things as a halfway sound like you kind of know what you're talking about, but sometimes it doesn't go as planned. All right, here's the current look. I noticed yesterday that they were experiencing satellite outages, so I redid the page here. This is a new link. So we still have Lee satellite page. That one is for some reason not updating. The last update was yesterday, so I added another one. Goes Lee floaters. Not the portalet kind, but satellite floaters. So it's a little different look. This is what it looks like. So it's interesting. Massive rapid intensification yesterday. Turned into a Cat 5. They expected it to continue strengthening today, 180. But it's run into some wind shear. Kind of lost its eye for a little bit. Doesn't look like a true Cat 5. Doesn't mean it's not. Recon was just out to hurricane hunters, and I guess if pressure's up in the 940 range. So this shows you how tropical systems are so finicky, right? So that's current look. Current shear, looking at the old school maps here, shear tendency. Here's where it's at. Running into this little pocket of shear. It's heading into it a little bit. Shear map here, showing you that. A little bit of wind shear in the red. So it's definitely dealing with not so favorable conditions. However, the NHC did say in their last discussion that they expect this thing to peak at 180 later today. Right now, winds are 165. So we'll see. I don't know. Doesn't look like a 180, but doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything because cone is what we look at. So all these scenarios are playing out. People, including me, scaring people, probably showing the euro, and 5-day cone is everything. So if 5 days is a long way away. That's why the National Hurricane Center makes sure that they keep it at 5 days. Things can change. So 5 days, there you go. It's still way away from Bermuda, way away from Florida, way away from the East Coast. Starting to see a little bit of that turn everybody was waiting for on the last track from National Hurricane Center. Just a little bend, but if you notice here, the 5-day spread is still pretty big, and we're still seeing a few go a little bit more west. Doesn't mean a continued west. It means a turn later west. And if it turns later, then definitely the impacts for the East Coast increase and decrease for Bermuda. So it's all about the turn at this point. It's all about the turn. All about the turn. Here's the latest spaghetti models that just came out from Tropical Tidbits. These are out at 12Z. There you go. High confidence of a turn. Timestamp here, 120 range, somewhere around here. So starting to see that turn midweek next week. Are getting a few outliers, going a little more west. UK, but they're all showing a turn, even the ones that are outlying. So again, at this point, don't read in anything if you're living in Florida or the Bahamas, because storms that have done things they weren't supposed to had ensembles doing that and weather patterns that were changing. Right now, we're not seeing that. So gotta trust spaghetti. Since we're always talking about the Euro, here's the latest European ensembles on Weather Nerds. Here is the latest 6Z. This has been the forecast. There's a high pressure building in, and the big question is, how strong is this high going to be before it allows a turn? That's the number one question. And this only affects East Coast upwards. Doesn't show yet anything going to the southeast. There's two things I can do, right? I could say it's going to hit Florida, and everybody would be like, oh my God. But there's nothing proving that. And that's the point. It's hard to say this thing. Irma had ensembles on the west coast of Florida, and we watched the trend developing. Florence had spaghetti models early on going this way. Sandy had spaghetti models going that way. There was reason to discuss the possibility of, oh my God, there might be one. But right now we don't see it. If it changes, then I'll be the first to tell you if you should be looking out in Florida. It's still a one-eye hangover alert if you're living in the southeast. So here's a 6Z showing that turn, 51 members. The only question mark obviously is some of them are showing a later turn. Question is, a couple things. Strong hurricane. Well, I'm going to get into that here in a second. A whole different topic. Here's the latest overnight cycle on Weather Nerds. 6Z only goes out 90 hours. So we'll get a 12Z run about 3 p.m. But there are your latest ensembles on the Euro. The main operational run did shift east. Yesterday it showed almost a main landfall. Now it's back east again. But we still have these ensembles to keep the northeast watching. It's all about the turn. Turns later, all these chances go with it. So nothing's changed there. If you're worried, Carolina is southward, that's kind of the news I should report, right? No big changes from yesterday. So European ensembles. Let's look at another graphic that I learned yesterday that I really like. It's called the ensemble means here, and the UK just got done running. So Jim Cantori, pointed this out this morning too. We do have scragglers going a little wester, which obviously would mean greater chances along the East Coast. So this is pretty widespread, and it's so far into the future. And like I said, there's a high pressure developing here that might kick this a little more west and even, delay that turn. So this is the question mark. Always has been about the turn. But anyway, just so you know, there's the latest. Let's change the color up. Let's go to let's do the UK in red, because I want to see the UK in red. And let's turn off everybody else for now, because the UK so far has tracked. Is this OZ? Yeah, we don't have the 6Z though. But the UK is pretty on point with everybody else. UK is a little closer to Bermuda on the ensemble mean. All right. So again, high confidence of this thing turning. I know there's probably a bazillion comments saying Florida, but we don't have one touching it yet. That's about 100 plus ensembles right there. But we do have them getting close here to the northeast mid-Atlantic. So definitely nothing's changed on that or Bermuda to watch. Let me show you that main operational runs. So the thing that's really confusing me is the storm was about 920-ish pressure. And these models, this is Tropical Tidbits, has nothing to do with Tropical Tidbits. These models they run the data that's given to them. But so the GFS initialized at 963 millibars, which is not even close to what it should be. So I don't know, if that's tricking the long range forecasting or not. Some think a stronger system might turn a little later. Some might think the opposite. I don't know. But at this point now, it's a little odd that the initialization of these models are way off, like 40 millibars, 30 to 40 millibars. Well, if it's 940, that'd be 20. But earlier runs of the 00Z were initializing the same, and then the storm was 920 range. So here's the latest GFS. Let's show you that. Not a very good model, but it was. Some people like to see it, so we're going to show it. It did the worst last year, and officially did the worst with Idalia, as that one meteorologist was able to show. All right, so this other system out here is Margot, with a little thunder in the background. You like that? A little thunder in the background? Let's crack open a Red Bull now. So before I got into ensembles years ago, this is the only thing I showed, because I didn't even know what ensembles were. So this is the old school way of doing it. Look at all the operational runs. Margot is a big question mark. High pressure builds between it. We'll see. Now Monday, this thing still going at west-northwest. You can see this high pressure system that everybody's talking about right here building. The question is going to be, how strong is this high pressure before it allows a turn? That's going to be the first thing we look at. So Margot and GFS. GFS goes just west of Bermuda and takes it awfully close to Maine and Nova Scotia. Just clipping maybe Massachusetts here a little bit, but very close to a Maine landfall and Nova Scotia landfall. Last night's 00Z run had it miss Bermuda and a little more east towards Nova Scotia. Notice Margot. My biggest question mark is this high pressure system is going to help accelerate our system north, but does it act as a block? I know I keep mentioning Franklin and Idalia. Idalia originally was going to turn a little bit more into the east coast of Florida, but then the discussion was Franklin created this high pressure between and actually pushed a little bit and made Idalia go more north than the curve. So I still think the big question mark is going to be what the heck happens between these two storms. Is this high pressure build allowing less of a turn? It's a very unique situation right here. I've asked a bunch of people on Twitter. Nobody's addressed it. I don't know. I mean, I think it doesn't happen very often, so nobody really knows, what's going to happen. long range. But what's interesting on all the models is we're going to have 2 hurricanes. This is next Thursday right here, a week from Thursday. We're going to have 2 hurricanes like side by side. Crazy. And then watch this little guy. Cantori was talking about this again today. I know I brought it up a couple days ago, but there is signs another wave's coming off of Africa. But we're not going to talk about that yet. I don't want to talk about it. All right, so let's talk about other models. Let's go to the Euro. The Euro, again, initialized way off. I just don't understand what's going on here. 979. So when this model runs, this is 6Z too, so it should have been pretty darn fresh data. 6Z is the most recent Euro run. It only goes 90 hours. But it initialized at 979, and then it should have been in the 929, 930 range. So I don't know what that's going to do. I don't know what it's going to do as far as steering goes. But let's look at the 90-hour mark. So here's 90 hours out. This is at Tuesday. This is Monday night. Monday night. Still no turn yet. We go to the 00Z at the exact same time, almost exactly the same. So here's the Euro. Starts turn Wednesday. Accelerates northward. Actually misses Nova Scotia, and it almost looks like it does try to feed off of Margot. Now, very Fujiwara effect. Fujiwara, Google it. 2 systems. Either the bigger one absorbs the little one, or because it doesn't absorb it, it just kind of deteriorates it because of wind shear. But that is interesting. I don't know. We'll have to see. That's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen when those 2 meet. It's like the old Diamond Rio song, Meet in the Middle. Meet in the middle. But, good news there. If the Euro's right, doesn't hit anybody. Now, we'll look at yesterday's 12Z. Went right up into Maine. So don't get too excited. We're going to see these flip-flop. If you notice my wording, I'm like flop back. So my new thing I'm going to start doing is if it goes back west, I'm going to say the Euro flipped back. Flop back is east, flip back is west. Models are going to do this. And again, it's all about this turn. And a couple other things. How strong this high is, how strong the front is. Timing is going to be still in the following weekend. Too close for comfort on the Euro. Canadian hasn't done bad. Here's the Canadian. Let's talk about the turn. There's the turn on a little more later Wednesday, Thursday. So here's the theme. The curve on the Canadian's a little later, and look where it goes. More into Maine and clipping Massachusetts there. So too close for comfort. Still missing Bermuda, but there's a Canadian. This is a week. This is a Saturday. And notice the high pressure makes more sense here. It kind of pushes Margot more south and blocks that. So it's still, Northeast still watching this thing. There's no guarantees. Anybody that's saying it's a fish storm there's just not enough confidence yet. Again, there's confidence it's not going to hit, at least the middle upper Bahamas, and definitely not Florida right now. So, I just have to dispel that. If it turns and hits Florida, then everybody's wrong. But the models have never let me down. And here's the Canadian showing whatever's coming off of Africa, Middle Atlantic. This is next Friday. So it does look like we're going to have something next Friday somewhere down in the Atlantic. Euro had it, and then it didn't. Now it did. Now it didn't. So did it. Now did it. And there's a little bit of a sign next Friday. So for sure, next week at this time, we're going to have something here that's rolled off of Africa. All right. Cool. Parent models, let's look at the H-Wharf. These initialized correctly. So these are getting... No, they didn't. Wait, hopefully they did. Yeah, they did. So these are getting the right data, the H-Wharf and the HAFS. So here's a 927 in this initialization. Gets it down to 919 pressure. And, it's really causing a little drama online. Look at the size, though. I did a measurement. We'll do it again. The storm is 500 miles wide right now. That's from convection to convection. Not hurricane force winds, just the size. But look at what the H-Dwarf is predicting as far as size goes. So a lot of people are noting the H-Dwarf's not a very good tracking model. Here's Bermuda. But a lot of people online are noting that the UK and the H-Dwarf and the HAFS is turning later. I need to shut the garage, man. We are getting hammered right now. Hang on a second. Let me use my flip-flops. Probably getting wet. Now the dogs are going to freak. They're going to hear the beep. Hear them? Now they're going to stand by the door because they think somebody's home. All right, so everybody's talking about... So these models are getting... they only go out 126 hours. But they're getting correct data fed into them. So it'll be interesting to see if they trend where they go with that turn. But right now it's really not showing that turn all the way into Wednesday morning. And that's the HWRF. And then the H parent on the HAFSA, same thing. Starting to show a little turn. Data in's correct though. Getting bigger. Lots bigger. And it might be starting to see a little turn north at the end right there. It only goes out 126. But that's pretty far. I mean, the coordinates on this, 2396 and 67. So let's look at this is what I was looking at this morning. Now that we got a new run, this is the 6Z. So 2468, let's say. And then we go to the euro. And the same timestamp for that, 126 hours, is 24. Basically 66.7. So H-War's a little bit more, or HAFS is a little more west than the euro. And the euro turns way before. So we'll see. You know, everybody's worried about that. But again, it looks, I mean, they're all showing a turn. All right, let's see some other models. Let's see. We got them two covered. Let's go look at the Korean model, which is a new one that I'm starting to follow because it's done pretty well. And let's see what it looks like. Look at the East Coast here. Believe it or not, Korean model did really good with Idalia. And it's curving by Nova Scotia. Missing Bermuda. But hitting Nova Scotia. Alright. See the trend. If you're in Florida freaking out right now, listen, there's no evidence that this thing is doing anything to worry about. East Coast, like mid-Atlantic northward, I'd be watching like a hawk. And Bermuda. But that's been the trend, man. Trends are your friends. Let's see, the old UK is always behind on this site, though. I think we already got a 12Z out. But anyway, here's the UK. It goes a little more west before it turns north. And it looks like it's going to miss Bermuda, so. Woohoo, right? There you go. Let's slow it down a little bit. So, I got the Hurricane Hunter data on here. People's always asking. There's the current one. Look at pressure did go up quite a bit, 942 now. This is on Tropical Tidbits also, but it's linked here. I also have it linked in the app. Pressure went up quite a bit. That's a big up. We'll see if it comes back. It's very hard for storms to maintain a Cat 5 very long. So they expect fluctuations. There is shear, though. I don't know if the models are picking that up. Here's key messages from the National Hurricane Center. Obviously, moved well north of the Leeward Islands, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. Dangerous surf. Yes, we know that. Way too soon to know level of impacts, if any, might have along the U.S. East Coast, Atlantic, or Bermuda. So they're basically just saying, we don't know. I was reading a discussion yesterday. They had that one line in there that got everybody worked up, saying they didn't know about the turn, but steady west-northwest path, continued west-northwest motion, but progressively slower pace. They don't even talk about a turn, but the turn's coming. Starting to see it just a little bit here on their 5-day cone. You can just see it just a little bit. I feel like Bob Ross did a little bit. There's a little bit of turn. And it's missing the A-bear box. So that's a good thing. Scary though, right? Guaranteed there's going to be hype about this thing. Because it's pointing right to Florida, right? So, turn, baby, turn. What's up, Mr. Greg Montgomery? Greg, will the storm push south and west a little, get away from the shear? I don't think it can do that, but it can react to this high pressure system. And it's fascinating to see it here. You can really see it well as we get into some upper air level patterns. And you can see it. Let me see if I can get a little bigger scope here. You see this high pressure system kind of do that, and this is why some of the models have it actually curving a little more west before it turns. So, if this high pressure builds a little quicker, stronger, then it's going to go a little more west before the turn. So, it all comes down to this high pressure system, and unfortunately, it's still days away. So the hurricane hunters are actually measuring this high pressure system and, checking it out, seeing how strong it might get. That front's eventually going to pick it up. There's very little doubt we have a frontal line coming in. So next Wednesday, this is frontal line, look of a frontal line, and you can verify it even on surface charts here. Next Tuesday, here it is. So here's our front. Our old front is hanging out, but here comes a new front. And here's Wednesday, Thursday. So strong signature of a front coming down, and Friday. And this is what's going to lift our system up. And you can start to see it on the last surface chart here next. I don't know if that's Thursday or Friday. It says Friday 12Z, so that's Friday morning. But that front is confident. That's the confidence of. They call them troughs. I still call them fronts. So I can't figure the difference out. I like the word front. Man, we're getting hammered with rain right now. Crazy rain. Look at this. Let's see how. That's a. Hey, I haven't had to water my mom's, Shelly. I've had 2 days of rain here. Oh, man. Look at that. There's rain everywhere. That's a lot of rain. Oh, I'm in the red. We got more coming. What is up with that? Where's it coming from? That's coming in frontal line. Look at that. Holy cow, we're going to get rain trained on. Storm map today shows this a little bit. We got a new 9 o'clock advisory out. Let me take a look at it. This is the new map for today. So there's that frontal line. We even got a marginal chance for storms now. That wasn't there this morning, but we could have big storms in the northeast. No tornado threats, though. Mainly wind and hail. Wind, hail, and storms. That's today. It's going to move on tomorrow to the northeast. A little bit leftovers. Rain? All right, let's put up a graphic here and I'll talk to some people. Talk to people. So, Katie wants to know about the MJO. Hey, good question. It doesn't seem like the MJO ever matters peak season. But to your point, looking ahead, we are going to be in a suppressed phase here in about a week plus. So maybe that'll squash that wave coming off of Africa. That's more around the Caribbean, but good question. Orange and yellows are negative phases, suppressed stages of the MJO. Vertical velocity kind of matching up with that a little bit, but then we get back into first part of October. We're showing green. That usually means upper level winds could be a little more favorable. There you go. Tom, good morning. Aspen, good morning. You got family in Florida. Should they be prepared? You have not watched me all show. I'm confident on the turn. I have to be confident on the turn. I have to be. I remember Dorian. We were all watching Dorian together, and everybody thought it wasn't going to turn. But the models, you can't go against the models right now. And you see that big front coming down. It's just my biggest question now is when does that turn? So my biggest questions are this. The models like the Euro, GFS, and CMC are not initializing correctly. So they believe it's going to be a weaker storm and a weaker storm turning when it turns versus a stronger system. I don't know if it's going to turn later or earlier. That's the big question mark. When you don't see initialization correct, there's going to be some error there. So, it's all about the turn. Turns a little later. East Coast is back in play more. So, Mark, good question. Wants to know about the eyeball. Eyeball. I like how you said eyeball. Halloween spirit, man. We got eyeball. They think there's an argument right now. It's not really an eyewall replacement. Eyewall replacements usually get absorbed by a larger eyewall, but this is, I think, more due to the shear that it's experiencing. It's definitely feeling shear on the front side there as it moves northwest. So, Dave, could it hit New York? Well, there's members that are. I mean, this thing turns later and it goes straight north. So, actually, see, that's a good question. Nobody really knows. I haven't seen that discussed either. I put it out on X, but nobody's responded to it. So I don't. Unfortunately, the high resolution hurricane models don't do a very long run. They only go out 126 miles. Yo, hell, what's up, buddy? Good morning. Dorian turned on a dime. You're right, T3. It sat. We had a blocking high pressure system over Florida that pretty much stopped it in its tracks. But at one time, it was supposed to go through the state. I know all of Florida, FEMA, everybody was set up for the worst possible scenario, and the storm stopped. Most people didn't even get any rain out of Dorian. So, anyway, any more good questions here? What is X? Mike, it's Twitter. I don't know what to call it anymore. Man, the rain's still coming down hard. It's absolutely pouring. Like, if you're like I am, you, the first thing that goes through my head is, oh my God, did I leave the trunk open? Do I have my windows down? I hope I didn't leave the sunroof open. I'm like, yeah, and then you're it's like a pre-checklist in your head, right? I'm like, okay, no, okay. I think I got everything put away. It's like a little too late now. I don't know what's out there. The dogs are inside. I guess that's okay. Anyway. So, all right. We're going to answer some questions. I got some more things to show. I'll slow down a little bit. Don't forget all our great sponsors. Of course, you just saw Mr. Gray Montgomery Furman. We love them to death. Locally, since it's raining like cats and dogs. And thunder! Big thunder. Oh my goodness. So if you got a roof leak, heaven forbid, we got a great sponsor here locally, Done Right Roofing, the orange and blue trucks. They do a lot in our area. Coastal Claims. Frank's doing a lot of claims from Idalia. So if you unfortunately had any damages from Idalia, please reach out. He'll help you get all your money. Because money buys beer. For sure. Let's see if there's an update. We have an update about 30 minutes. Direct Remodels here locally does hurricane windows and storm protection there. We've had people ask me all the time. So we finally had a fan reach out, big followers of our page. So definitely a lot of folks are getting hurricane windows. Half our neighborhood is actually. I'm like last to the. I want them more for sound. When I did put up the plywood a couple years ago for Ian, the glass was so thin. I'm like, this is scary. It's like I'm afraid to touch it. Like when I'm cleaning it. I didn't even board up last time, so. Halloween, great question. Great question, Liz. Halloween stuff, probably the end of September. Right now we got mums out, so. Hey, Tom, Atlantic water temperatures. Well, let's take a look. Ocean heat content, extremely warm. This is how hot water is below surface right now. This is what is helping. You know, it's hard to believe our system's way over here. But all this ocean heat content will continue to allow our system to intensify or maintain intensity. It's definitely not the depth that we see in the Western Caribbean. But plenty of ocean heat content. Actual water temperatures, we can take a look here and see sea surface temperatures. Go to U.S. And water temperatures down that neck of the woods are 85, 85.7. Hot, all the way. 86 around north of Hispaniola. 86.3. You know, another thing to note too, I think I overemphasized maybe a little too much. The water anomaly map basically is where it's at compared to average. And this is all the wake left behind from Franklin. So it looks cold, but it's just a departure from average. So it's a little below normal, but in reality, the temperature is still like 82, which isn't like optimal, but it's still 81.8. That was all leftovers from Franklin. So as our system goes north, it should at least lose a little intensity, especially when it reaches these colder waters in the North Atlantic. So, there's going to be an approaching front come down. These things sometimes combine with those fronts, and it expands the wind field, and you get a really sloppy-looking system that's still quite strong. Memories of Sandy, right? So let's look at the euro from. Let's do yesterday's. It'll magnify a little bit more what worst case could happen, but here is kind of what it would look like. So even with a skirt yesterday, let's see if I can get a little closer to northeast. All right. So even with that skirt yesterday, just the size of the system is humongous, right? So it's not even touching land here, but look at that effect of storm. So, a lot of this is skewed on the west side too. We've been seeing that trend a lot, with the west side having the most juice. Usually it's the opposite, but we're going to have some shear coming in on the east side, which might be reducing some of the effects that we sometimes see on the northeast side. So just seeing a lot more modeling showing more of the heavier rains. We saw that with Idalia, and we saw it with Ian last year too. So, it's important to note on that too. Even without a direct hit, there's going to be this is next weekend, next Friday, next Saturday. That's rain. Winds, obviously, pretty intense. Even this is 12Z yesterday, but even without that direct landfall here, let's say Massachusetts, we could have some pretty big winds coming by. These are 10 meter winds. If you go to 850 winds, it really shows you the wind field higher above, which sometimes can bring stormier weather down to the surface. So it's still too close for comfort up that neck of the woods. It's just so far away right now, We have to wait on that turn. So everybody in the New England area, Northeast, Nova Scotia, 100% watching this thing. Bermuda still looks like it's pretty safe. Nothing yet making a direct landfall. Remember, the Windy app is the euro. So if you open up the Windy app, you're looking at the euro. You're not looking at a different model. You're looking at the euro. Latest euro here showing some storms later next week for the island. So you get some action out of it, but the direct landfall not there. The heaviest winds are going to stay off, but you'll get some big ones. I mean, even passing by, you could probably get some big gusts. Euro's a little overdone sometimes, but you're close enough with the latest euro because the euro tracked a little more east. This would be Friday on approach. So here's early morning Friday. So things are pretty much Friday for Bermuda. That's been the timing all along. At one time it was more like Thursday, so it slowed down a little bit. There's Friday at 2 p.m. GFS is a lot faster. This is Thursday night. So the track's been pretty solid west as a direct hit. So let's look at the size. Everybody likes to see the size. So let's go to weather. Oh my God, that's big. Just keep my mouth shut. So even though it doesn't really have the most, this is weathernerds.org, but definitely seeing the front side of our system losing convection a lot compared to yesterday. Let me do a measurement here real quick, and then we'll show you what I'm going to show you. But just bottom line, we just do that right there. We're at 490. You can go there. It's 491. So I estimated earlier 500. There's 500 right there. You could argue this is a little less, 465. But there's 500. So it's 100% safe to say this thing's about 500 miles wide. There's 508. There's 520, but so it's about 500 miles wide. But look at this shear. Now let's put this in motion here. You're going to really see this thing deteriorate a little bit as it experiences that wind shear. Peters and Palmar or Oldsmar. I know, isn't that weird? That is not what I was looking for. Let's try it again. Oh, it says I'm let's just start over. If all else fails, just start over. Well, actually, I got direct links. What am I wasting my time for right here? A lot of lightning, man, around that center, though. Holy cow. So it's... Those little white dots are lightning. That is a lot of lightning. Hurricane hunters are out there right now, by the way. But, yeah. And they're expected this year to be temporary. It's just not your classic Cat 4, Cat 5, right? It just kind of looks terrible on the west side. You can see that shear just eating it up. But that eye wall, holy moly, man, it is absolutely incredible. Those little white dots. Let's look at the water vapor. Water vapor is really not affecting it. This brown over here is dry air. You know, the overall conditions are just incredibly favorable for this thing. That's why there's not much discussion about this thing losing intensity. You know, there's a little bit of dust, dry air showing up, a little bit, not a lot, but let me stop this where we're at. So here it is right now currently, but you can see if you've been following us this whole year, right? No dry air, no dust. Normally this whole area is full of yellow and oranges and reds, but this is one map that definitely shows you how, you know, you lose all that dry air and dust. Typically, early season, this is all yellow and oranges and reds. I mean, this is just an easy way to see that, hey, you know, conditions, at least for that, are pretty darn favorable for lack of dry air. Precipitable water map shows really good, too, the amount of moisture in the air down there. This is the way it looks on that. So plenty of moisture to pull in from the north and the south as this thing follows a high pressure system to the north. So again, the biggest question on my mind, nobody's even talking about, is what the heck does Margot do in relation to the future steering path of Lee? Stay tuned till 5. We get a new NAC update at 11, by the way, and then we'll do one at 5, the National Hurricane Center. Coco K, now you guys are talking. We're going to Labadee in 2024 on our cruise, Miss Shelley. Sea swells, Lord Andrew. Yeah, let's just take a look at that for sure. Wave heights. Dale, what's up? Get your window fixed, Dale. TVBC. Gage, great question. I went over that too. I'm kind of curious why the global model's initialization was wrong. The our hurricane ones were correct. HMON and HWRF and HOFS. I'm just gonna call it HOFS. What am I wasting my time? I say HWRF, and that's not even. How do you pronounce HWRF? Maybe I made that up. HWRF. HWRF. So we're just going to start calling it HAFS model, the HAF. I don't know why I was confusing it for so long. HAFS. The HAFS model. All right, so we got some questions on wave height. So yes, let's take a look at that. We got some big ones coming. Surf's up, dude. We got to do it. I wonder how I can get close to the East Coast. We can start out with Southeast, and then we'll go to the Northeast. All right, this kind of gives you the picture. So once we start seeing the yellow in the Bahamas, this is Monday morning. Yellow are 10-foot heights. Oranges are about 15, red's about 20. So we start to see the big waves coming in about Tuesday. And really hitting the Bahamas hard on Wednesday. This is Wednesday. So the biggest waves for Florida are definitely going to be later in the week. Thursday, Friday, it looks like. Maybe into Saturday. Let's get a little closer out now. We can see the heights. They were showing yesterday 100 foot on the Euro. I think the highest I saw now is about 85, 86, 80, 89. That's because the Euro's initializing incorrectly. So the Euro thinks it's only going to be like a 950 storm right now when it might be 920 or 930. So those wave heights would be a lot higher. But even with the low prediction on the Euro, it's still showing 85, 89 right here. Biggest waves really are going to be hitting the Carolinas later in the week too, Thursday. Getting close to the Reds, which is like 30 feet. That's not surge. That's just wave heights out in the Gulf. They lose that as they approach the coast, but definitely you know what I'm talking about. You're going to get a lot of beach action. And if this thing obviously gets closer, guess what? There's going to be a lot more than that. But Reds are 25. Purple's about 30. This purple right here. Yesterday's run was a little closer, which means that you're going to have a little bit more wave heights as it comes by. I have this thing on preload, so I have to wait for it to load. I'm watching a little thing up there. And here's Margot coming in the scene, right? What the heck's up with that? But there's your wave heights. Man, look at this thing, man. I mean, if this thing got that close, man, we're talking 40, 50, 60-foot seas up here for the Northeast, right off the coast here. And that was yesterday's 12Z run. But definitely going to be pretty big out there from Florida all the way across the East Coast. Next week, those are big. That's big. It's big for Florida. Lindsay, I like your comment. Yeah, so I don't know the area very well up there, but I know that they suffer a lot from wave heights and beach erosion, especially along, what is that, 12? What's the name of that road up there, 12 or something? I've never been, man. I was thinking, maybe I got friends that live up that way. Never been to the Outer Banks. So I'd be curious what it would be like to go up there and see some of this beach action. The name of that road, 12? Is that the name of that road? 12? What's the name of that road? The one that goes along the water. Yeah, it is 12. Ocracoke. Was that the one Dorian hit? The backside got a lot of surge. Anybody live there? We have ferries here, I hope. You have to jump? You have to drive in the water? What's the deal here? How do you get from here to here? Do I need a snorkel? Kitty Hawk. Home of the Wright brothers, right? Hatteras Island. Man, yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see some of that. Oh, anyway, ferry. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been on one with my truck. Ferry boats, Rick. I know. My boy Kimpton's probably watching. I think he used to be a ferry boat captain. Everybody says, come to Ocracoke. Top sale. It'd be like a scene from Smokey and the Bandit when the bridge was out, right? Anybody else see the back of a tow truck, on the highway when it's down? There was a video floating around when somebody hit one of those not too long ago. Man, it was bad. Like that car launched, and when it landed, I don't think anybody was hurt. So that's all we can say right now. No big changes. Wait on a turn. Nothing to panic about at all. Most models have it missing almost everybody. Nova Scotia, but oh my God, little wiggles and wobbles and turns later, man, we got a lot more to watch. So unfortunately, nothing's set in stone. But you saw the models. There's no reason to get worried. There's nothing showing Florida. So, all right, cool. Hey, we got a TikTok follower over there, Miss Susan. Yeah, I did a clickbait headline this morning. I hated it, but all I said was is Lee coming to Florida? Is Lee merging with Margot? Because that's the number one question everybody's saying on TikTok. So, but I put a question mark, is, and then I instantly said no. A lot of information out there that's wrong. Jennifer, great question. The reason for the turn, we have an approaching front coming down. They like to ride those jet streams when the jet stream comes down. They're attracted to the jet stream. And there's high confidence we have one coming to pick it up. And I don't know if it's really going to be what I'm looking for, but you kind of see it with the shear map here. But there's definitely a frontal line coming, and you can kind of see it on the 500 millibar here with the flow here with the jet stream. So they lift these systems up. The big debate is this high developing between Margot and the front, and will it go straight north or will it curve? And if this high is strong, it's not going to have a really easy way to curve. So that hasn't changed. You know, some theory is that Margot might break down the high, allowing Lee to turn. But yesterday's 12Z didn't do that. So, and a lot of it's because it's not even initializing correctly, in my opinion. So it's a lot stronger storm before the turn, and it's curious how much that changes things. I read an interesting article that sometimes stronger systems get more attracted to the jet stream, meaning it could tug a little more west before that turn. So, what's my favorite Mexican restaurant? I'd have to say Taco Bell. I'm not really a big Mexican food eater. I love tacos. A lot of cool down next week, Derek West. Correct. I should shout on TikTok. Oh, Carla wants to know about the storm coming off Africa. I know, right? Well, it's there. Looks like it'd be middle part of the Atlantic this time next week. It's already showing up a little bit on satellite, actually. Let's see here. This is on cyclonicweather.com. So there's a little sign here of something coming off, and then another, and then another. This one's interesting though because it's already got a little spin to it. Coming off right now. I don't know if this is the one picking up Friday or not, but this one's definitely showing a little bit of spin coming off. Not a lot, but it's showing some. You can get a good look at it too on Weather Nerds. Right here. And go loopy doopy. We'll see if it becomes anything. It's south of the islands right now. It's got some spin to it. Got a lot of spin to it, but not highlighted by the NHC. So we'll wait and see if they highlight it. I don't think it's highlighted. Is it highlighted? Well, that's an awful lot of little spin coming off Africa right now. A couple of models are showing it. Let's see. Well, the Canadians definitely picked up on it right away. Not doing a good job. That's not right. Icon. Yeah, the Icon picked it up a little bit. What is it showing there? It's actually showing something. Yeah. Models are confused, man. They're showing this merging with Margot. That's not even Margot in the models. Models are doing terrible. You can kind of see it right here. This is next Friday. Canadian's showing it right here tomorrow. Well, I don't know if that's the same. It's kind of happening in real time. This is Margot. This is Lee. This is potential spinner we're watching. All right, well, there you go, guys and gals. It's Friday, so thank you, Animation. I love trying to decipher the YouTube handles. Hey, by the way, we're on X. They don't chat over there, but we have huge following on X now. I just got a Spirit Halloween email. I love my Spirit Halloween emails. Let's see what they got. Let's see what this one is. This one's not. Oh, it's coming. Oh, heckles. There's heckles. Look. I actually like heckles, man. So we have 2 clowns now. Heckles looks. I like it. Oh my goodness. Heckles. We got a video. Oh my god. Let's see what it sounds like.
Step right up. Step right up and get your balloons here. Only 10 cents. And what's the day at the circus without a balloon? Just don't come a knocking for refunds.
Oh, I'm gonna get heckles later. We got 2. One's barely hanging on. It's that guy that's like this, and I gotta like use a brick to hold him up. So I need a new one this year. All right, so listen, we'll be when am I in Boca tomorrow? Actually, I think we're not. We're either Lynn University or Barry University. I don't know. We're in that area tomorrow, so we'll probably be live tomorrow night. Don't know. It'll be late tomorrow night because we're gonna have to drive home from Boca. So we'll have a special Saturday night. We'll have a Saturday night live. I'll probably do a pre-recorded one today. I haven't done one in a while. So I'll spend some time on one. I'll try to post it by 5 o'clock. So we'll have that up, give you the latest. And I'll be posting all day. So here we go. We'll see y'all later. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it. And watch for a special time tomorrow for a live. Won't be in the morning because we'll be on the highway early. A lot of days to track this one, all right? See ya.